evening. Good evening, powerful women of abundance. Hello, hello. Rodine Jean-Francois here. Put my volume up. On this lovely Wednesday, we are here for Love and Light with Lou. We come together every Wednesday at 6:45. No, 7:45. Got my time all wrong. To discuss all things pertaining to women's empowerment. Women empowerment. I am your host of Love and Light with Lou. And tonight we are talking about this sneaky little habit that we have that gets in the way of us really enjoying our wins, really enjoying the things that we work so hard for. And the reason why it's so important to uncover this habit is because if we don't, we will never be satisfied. We'll never feel fulfilled. We'll never really be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor, okay? And I know you all are some hard-working women, and why not? Why not give yourself an opportunity to enjoy all that you've worked hard for? Okay, so that's what I'm sharing with you tonight. We're talking about the habit, this sneaky little habit, one of the tricks the mind plays on us that makes us forget really just how amazing we truly are. All right, so I am your host, Lordine Jean-Francois, Coach Lou. Hey E, good to see you. I am so excited to see you in a couple of weeks. I can't wait. I RSVP'd, at least with hubby. I RSVP'd. I'm sorry I didn't respond to the invite, but I'm looking forward to connecting with y'all. Love you too. Absolutely. All right, so I am your host, Lordine Jean-Francois, Coach Lou, and this is Love and Light with Lou. We connect every Wednesday at 7:45. Yes. E says yes. At 7:45 to discuss all things pertaining to women empowerment. And so today, I'm going to share with you all this one sneaky little habit that we have that gets in the way of us really celebrating our wins. And again, the reason why this is important is that if we don't uncover this sneaky little habit, we'll never be fulfilled, never fully be satisfied with all the work that we put in on a daily basis to accomplish our goals, okay? All right, so let me share with you. As a matter of fact, before getting into that, have you taken care of yourself this week? What have you done for yourself this week? I start every Love and Light with that question. Make sure you're pouring into yourself, that you are doing some form of self-care, okay? So whether you're getting a massage or taking a hot bath or buying yourself something nice or complimenting yourself, something. Hopefully you have done something for your self-care this week, and if not, there is still time, okay? It's never too late for you to pour into you, okay? So did not want to forget about that reminder. All right, so here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Most of the population, most of the people in the world, and I can give you a percentage, but nonetheless, most of the people in the world see the world through the lenses of fear, scarcity, and lack, right? Most of the population, okay? And if you really think about that, you probably see it, okay? And so because of this truth, we have to be careful about the way that we're measuring our success, right? The measuring stick we're using to determine whether we're successful or not, right? And because of that too, it's best that we just set our own standards, come up with our own standards for success, because if we don't, we will never be satisfied with our accomplishments. All right. And it even happens to me. I saw someone who was younger than me just some years ago. She started her coaching practice, and Shorty is taking off, right? Shorty is taking off, and so very happy for her. A sister, I think her name is Candace. I can't think of her last name right now, but my knee-jerk reaction, hello, thank you for joining. We're talking about the sneaky little habit that gets in the way of us really enjoying our wins. And I'm sharing my personal story about the time when this habit snuck up on me, okay? So Shorty was doing, she's doing her thing, and immediately I was like, I should be doing more. I'm not doing enough, right? All of the stories, right, just kind of was running through my mind, right? All of the stories discounting, hey, Jeanette, so good to see you. All of the progress I've made, all of the progress I've made, the fact that I have a thriving private practice, and here I am branching out into the coaching and consulting space. But in that moment, none of that stuff mattered, because she out here doing her thing, right? Right? And so in that moment, my knee-jerk reaction was to tell myself, the story that I was telling myself was what I'm doing is not good enough, right? It's not good enough. And because of the way that we are fed, the information that we are fed, talking about social media and the reality shows, and not knocking any of those things, but the point is, so much of what we see is glamorized. So much of what we see is they're the highlight reels of people's lives. But because the mind has this tendency to compare out of this fear of scarcity, this fear of lack, right? That we have to be aware of that knee-jerk reaction, that knee-jerk reaction that happens when we see someone doing something that maybe we either are trying to do, would like to do, or try to do, and maybe it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to work out. We have to be aware of that sneaky little habit, because it affects all of us to some degree, right? So I love this quote by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is one of my favorite spiritual teachers. He has all types of videos on YouTube. He says, "Are you allowing an insane world?" An insane world, and what he really means by that is an ego-driven world, tell you whether your life is a failure or success, right? The only criterion for being successful is whether or not you're conscious in this moment, whether or not you are aware, right? Whether or not you are aware. Hello, thank you for joining, right? The only criterion for being successful is whether or not you're conscious in this moment. This is the greatest and truest success in life. Amazing, right? Powerful quote. Right? So because we live in a world, hey Shantae, hey Miss, that where so many of us are operating again from a place of fear, scarcity, and lack, we have to be mindful of how we're determining whether or not we are successful. Right? So give some thought to this. How do you define success? Right? Is it making good money? Having healthy, loving relationships, accomplishing your goals, or doing your best? How do you define success? Okay? And the thing is, however you define success, right? I'm going to share with you this common mistake, and some of you may already know what it is. This common mistake that we make when we're determining whether we are successful or not. Okay? Hello, thank you for joining. So here's this common mistake. All right, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing you have to know about the mind. And this is just something that the mind does, okay? And in my coaching program, I talk about all the sneaky little ways the mind trips us up and keeps us stuck, right? But one of the things the mind does, it judges, Okay, it judges, it compares, right? It judges things as either good or bad, right or wrong, either this or that, right? It's just what the mind does, okay? And so because the mind does this, what ends up happening is instead of appreciating the process and the progress that we're making towards our goals, right? We seek perfection. We seek perfection. That's the habit. That's the sneaky little habit that gets in the way of us really enjoying our wins. Because of the way the mind works, because the mind judges and criticizes and compares and does all the things, or all those things, we tend to seek perfection instead of appreciating the process and the progress that we are making. Okay, and the thing about here's the thing about perfectionism. Being perfect, perfectionism does not exist. In essence, if you were to be perfect, if anybody was to be perfect, I believe we're perfectly imperfect. But if we were to be perfect, what that would then mean is that there's no capacity, no room for us to grow. There's no potential for us to become even greater and greater and greater. And I don't know about you, but I love the idea of growing and evolving, right? So that's why this whole idea of perfectionism is a myth. No matter what your body look like, no matter how much money you have, right? That is a total myth, because at the end of the day, being perfect would mean that you would be done, that you would be finished, and that there would be no room for you to grow, for you to learn, for you to evolve, right? For you to expand, right? For you to become a better version of you, okay? A greater version of you, okay? All right? So that's the sneaky little habit. That's the sneaky little habit. Because the mind judges, because it criticizes and compares, we tend to focus on perfection, right? This fallacy of perfection, right? Instead of focusing on the process and our progress. Jeanette says, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I bring this information to you all because it's important to know that the mind just does what it does, right? And it's hard to separate who we are from our minds, because the thoughts that we experience, it feels as if we're actually thinking those thoughts. And I get it. It's important, however, to know, yes, thank you, Shantae. It's important for us to know, however, right, that the mind is just doing what it does at this stage of our evolution, okay? At this stage of our evolution as a species, right? And so because of where we are evolutionarily, right, the mind still struggles with this particular behavior. It's an internal behavior, but it's still a behavior. This behavior of judging, criticizing, and comparing. Okay? All right. So now that we know what this habit is that we need to break, right? And especially if we want to enjoy our successes, enjoy our wins, right? And really define success from a heart-centered place, right? What do we do about it? What do we do about it? Okay, so this is the tip I'm going to share with you all for this evening. Instead of focusing on perfection, okay, instead of focusing on perfection, appreciate the process. And how do you do that? Celebrate your wins, right? At the end of the day, here's a great tool. At the end of the day, write down 3 things you are proud of, right? 3 things that you can celebrate yourself for having accomplished, for having done, whether you got through a challenging conversation, you figured something out, you worked out and you haven't worked out in a while. At the end of the day, identify and write them down, because there's something different about seeing things on paper, right, that make them more real. Right? Identify 3 things that you are proud of, okay, at the end of the day. That way, we train the mind to focus more on progress and the process instead of getting wrapped up in this fallacy of perfection. Okay? All right? So, that's what I have for you all today. It's always a pleasure to connect with you all. We do have another masterclass coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'll start advertising for that. The secret to making the shift from surviving to thriving. Last month, well, it was this month. The masterclass we had a couple of weeks ago was absolutely amazing. So if you missed it, be sure to join us for the next masterclass. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out for that. And until we see each other again, powerful woman, focus on the process and progress, right? Process and progress, and celebrate your wins, right? It's always a pleasure to connect with you all, and I will see you soon. Peace.